Welcome to a Netrunner matchup between Haas-Bioroid engineering the future and a noise Anarch deck. The players have already drawn up and mulligan, so we're going to start quickly here. We can see that Haas-Bioroid has an accelerated beta test, a melange, a toll booth, and a couple other ice. We'll see what he does with that. He hasn't yet drawn up. Looks like he might have an enigma as well. He hasn't yet drawn up, but that's a strong opening hand. When you have a melange and an ice to protect it, it's usually a pretty strong opening hand because melange just gives you such a huge credit advantage. Here we can see the runner has 2 parasites, 2 shore gambles, and a stim hack. So let's see what he draws into. Ooh, he draws into an archer. Pretty good ice in a Haas-Bioroid deck if you're focused on the accelerated beta test combo. He installs an ice on HQ. Oh, nope, he moves over R&D. So it looks like he's not worried about the runner running on HQ. And installs a wall of static on a melange. So right now he's in pretty good position. Let's see what the runner does. So runner opens with a run on the remote server, revealing the wall of static. Corp obviously reses it as he wants to protect melange. Runner runs on R&D, sees a hedge fund there, then installs a parasite on the wall of static, trashing the top card, which is the hedge fund, and for his final action, he makes a run on R&D and scores a priority requisition. Pretty good use of Noise's ability right there. Saw a card you didn't want to deal with, trashed it, and scored an agenda because of it. So here, Corp reses melange. I didn't see what he drew into. So you can see that Archer is still showing, but takes credits from the melange, and there you can see his economy is already kind of skyrocketing. Here it looks like the runner draws a sacrificial construct and an infiltration. He runs on R&D. The Corp reses enigma. The runner looks like he's considering stim hack, but I don't know what for, as he doesn't have any breakers, so he simply displays the infiltration for his 2 credits and passes it back to the Corp. Corp uses melange again. Not much of a shocker there. The credits are just, it's a huge bonus. When you can just kind of sit on melange for a couple turns and build credits, you're going to be installing ice like crazy if you want to. You're going to be really pushing through agendas quickly, so the runner has to get rid of that melange pretty much as fast as possible. Here he draws into a wild sign, which is a great card for kind of an event card-driven deck, which most Anarch decks tend to be. Corp draws into another accelerated beta test, so there you can see a biotic labor. Looks like 3 agendas in his hand actually. So he's got the accelerated beta test, a couple other agendas. And he's going to pass it back to the runner, probably using melange one last time. And, no, sorry. He's actually paving over, as we say. He's paving over the wall of static and installing a toll booth there. Looks like he considered the archer first, but it obviously doesn't make sense without an agenda scored, as you can't defend it. And he installs an accelerated beta test. Kind of interesting. He could have actually pushed through one of his agendas if he had chosen to, by popping the biotic labor and just installing and using the beta test, but I'm guessing he didn't feel it was a good move. There, the runner draws 2 cards from wild side, installs a cyber feeder, and then with his other action installs the data sucker effectively for free because of the 1 credit from cyber feeder, and as final action runs on archives, which has the bonus of giving the data sucker 1 token. Here the Corp draws into enigma. He chooses to protect his archives. Kind of interesting. He already has 2 agendas in hand. I'm surprised he's not trying to protect HQ more. I'm guessing he thinks he may score an accelerated beta test and dump some bad stuff in there, but it's he's running a little risky here. The runner already has 3 points, and if you were to run his hand a couple times, you could win the game really in 2 actions if he got lucky. So here the runner plays a Forge activation orders on the toll booth. Kind of interesting. The only card that Forge activation orders would have worked on right now was really an Archer. Archer is the only card that the Corp couldn't have resed because of the agenda cost. So I'm somewhat surprised he played the Forge activation orders. He does save a few credits as he doesn't face check the toll booth. and have to pay the 3 credits, but it's not like he had any credits to begin with, so if he had face checked it, it simply would have ended the run. So it's an unusual move. And there you go, he runs on the hand, scores the Accelerated Beta Test, and it's back to the Corp's turn. So Corp draws into a Corporate Troubleshooter. It's nice, it's a great card, but in this situation, the runner doesn't really have any icebreakers, so the Corporate Troubleshooter is not really going to benefit him here. There you can see, only 1 ice off the Accelerated Beta Test. He has to put an agenda down as well as the Corporate Troubleshooter. So that's 1 Corporate Troubleshooter in his archives there. Installs a Roto Turret on HQ. That seemed like an interesting play for me. You know, he doesn't have any agendas in HQ anymore, so I'm guessing that's just to stop the runner from getting easy tokens on Data Sucker. And then he passes it back to the runner. Runner draws into a Wild Side, another Wild Side, and another Cyber Feeder, both fairly good cards. Looks like he's going to mod it a Parasite onto the Roto Turret. Interesting. So I'm guessing he's going to run HQ here, because otherwise it's just, there's no real point to dropping the Parasite there. You know, Parasite and Roto's kind of funny because it's just an immediate destroy. Let's see what he does here. He runs Archive, surprisingly, and that ends his turn. So that Parasite winds up being wasted. There's somewhat of an odd move to play the Parasite and then not run HQ. There you can see Corp scores the Accelerated Beta Test again. Oh, and he gets a nice draw for the Accelerated Beta Test. An Ichi, a Victor, and an Enigma. So he installs an Enigma on HQ. He does have an agenda in his hand that he needs to protect now. And he has to decide what to do with the Victor and the Ichi. It's kind of interesting having an Enigma on each server. If the runner drew into a Yogg 0.0 right now, he would actually have free reign on almost any of the servers. So the Enigmas are nice, but it's just something you have to consider against Anarch. They can pretty much just walk through Enigmas if they actually play Yogg 0.0. So he drops the Ichi on R&D, drops the Victor on Archives. Here the runner draws into... He actually has 2 Sacrificial Constructs now. It's a good anti-archer card, good anti-aggressive secretary card, but I'm somewhat surprised he's playing it in this deck. So he's got another Parasite as well. We'll see if he does anything with that. He's in a very strange board position. He has no icebreakers, so a lot of his economy, like his Stim Hack, his Sure Gamble, they're not particularly helpful in this instance. He's up 5-4, and he really only needs to score 1 agenda here, but he doesn't exactly have the means to do so right now. So we'll see what he does here. I know if I were playing, I play Shaper a lot, but I know if I were playing, I'd start digging through for my icebreakers, as he just has no way. If there's no agendas in Archive, we know there is one, but in this case, if there were no agendas in Archive, no agendas in HQ, he doesn't really have any means to go scoring. So Corp draws a card, he draws into a Wall of Static, and installs a Corporate Troubleshooter behind the Toll Booth. I am always a fan as Corp of installing stuff, because when stuff's installed, the runner always has to think, do I run or do I not? Runner draws into another Data Sucker and a Worm. The Worm's not going to be particularly helpful here, because he doesn't have the credits to engage the Toll Booth and destroy it. He would have to pay the 3. He doesn't have the 3 to pay if he installs the Worm and the Parasite, so he can't really use it. The Toll Booth would shut down the run before he got the option to destroy the Toll Booth, so we'll see what his play is here. He drops a Parasite on the Enigma. Interesting. That actually might be the game right there. He's going to be able to click through the Victor with one of his actions, and then he's going to actually be able to destroy the Enigma with Data Sucker tokens. So he does choose to do that, and he takes the brain damage because he only had the 1 action to break the end run. So kind of a risky call here. If there wasn't an agenda in there, it could backfire on him. Now brain damage, yep. So there you can see Haas-Bioroid player reveals his private security force, And that's the end of the game. Very quick one for the runner, even with no icebreakers. It was a gamble. Brain damage is always interesting in that while the brain damage you take can make you vulnerable to kill effects like Scorched Earth, you can almost assume in Haas-Bioroid they're not going to run it. So if you don't mind the card disadvantage, taking the brain damage can actually be a huge positive. In this case, obviously, won him the game. So there you have it, a very quick game with no icebreakers from an Anarch against Haas-Bioroid. Just an unlucky situation for Haas-Bioroid. He drew into really a lot of agendas and didn't draw into enough ice to defend. So that will end your game quickly. All right. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back for next time.